Hey everybody, welcome back one more time to TJ's Lego Room field trip to the upstairs. As I was looking at my ships that still need to be covered, I realized I had one more ship that does not fit on my usual Lego stand, Lego table, so here we are. This is a ship, a TIE fighter, that I lovingly refer to as Captain Phasma's TIE Fighter. And the reason I call it Captain Phasma's TIE Fighter is partially for the color scheme, but when I set out to design this fighter, I think it probably looks best right there. When I set out to design this fighter, it was always Captain Phasma's Starfighter. When I open the cockpit, you'll see I have Kylo Ren in there. I thought of it maybe being a shuttle. Sorry, my voice is still bad. I thought of this being possibly a shuttle or his own personal starfighter, but in the end, I really liked the idea of Captain Phasma having a starfighter. So the color scheme was built to reflect that. Originally, I wanted it to be mostly silver, obviously, but without the silver being available, I ended up going with the dark gray on the wings, which is a color we have not seen before in a TIE fighter, and then having a black border and then a red border on the outside of it, just like her cape, with the red border on it. Obviously, the colors are a little different. But let's go ahead and jump into it. As you can see, one of the wings is larger than the other. The original idea for the ship is that both sides of the ship would have the same size wings, which would be the smaller one. But Captain Phasma wanted a few design changes. Some of those design changes are these removable pods. So what this pod does is it's a giant extra cannon. And underneath you can see it has these transparent, hold on, it's not focusing. There we go. So we have these transparent, hey, come on. These transparent light blue dishes underneath there. I thought of those as like power capacitors. So they charge up and then fire these giant cannons. So these do have interchangeable pieces on them. However, I don't have any of the interchangeable parts as what I would replace them with. I was thinking of extra large engines, extra fast hyperdrives. There are a lot of different ways you can go with it. But I just wanted them to be interchangeable, and they are. So Phasma put two of those things on there, which is not something you'd normally do, and so it needed the extra large wing to be able to collect the energy and charge the capacitors for the larger weapons. However, as you can see from the front of the ship, Phasma already has a ton of weapons on this thing. So you've got these two front cannons here, you've got these two smaller cannons, and then the large cannons on top of it. The problem with this larger wing is that it goes out so far, is this cannon now gets a little too close to that and can accidentally damage this thing, this wing. So this added little extra section here is actually supposed to be like an extra deflector field just on this portion of the wing to keep that laser from hitting it. And why would I keep it on there? Why even keep the laser, you ask? Well, this whole thing is actually modular. So we can remove that wing. We can remove that wing, and we can remove both of these components, and we have a base ship for the Empire to be able to customize for different missions for whoever owns the ship or who pilots it. One of the other fun parts that I really enjoyed doing was this particular front cockpit piece. So this is actually one of the window pieces from the Emperor's Throne Room set that came with Darth Vader and the Emperor and Luke from Return of the Jedi. And when I was staring at that window piece, I'm like, you know what? That would look so cool on the front of a TIE fighter. Maybe it doesn't to you, but to me, I think it adds a little bit of variety. And it makes the ship feel a little bit bigger than a normal TIE fighter, which was what I was going for. This piece, of course, is obviously from the First Order TIE Fighter, since we're working with Phasma, and there's not a lot of those pieces in different designs. And then we open that up, you can see it's actually a two-seater. The idea would be that Captain Phasma would either be chauffeured around in it, or she would pilot it, and then be able to bring along a prisoner or distinguished guests like Kylo Ren. So that closes up. So as you can see from the back here, I have these different brick pieces that are sideways for the pods to fit into. So on the front, it's just just an interesting snotting building technique to put both of those guys on there. And so if you look from the top, the lines fit perfectly on those wedge plates to be able to go together. And then underneath, they also go together perfectly, except one is going down and one is going up. So the studs go different directions, but they still match up perfectly. One of the other really fun parts that I enjoyed building and trying to make was this shape at the back. Getting these engines and the octagonal shape of the things in there. So if I pop this one off, you'll actually be able to see partly how I made it. So using some snotting techniques right here, I've actually removed this. And this, boop, you can see a little bit more. So I used these hinge pieces using a snotting technique on top of a bracket, underneath another tile and extension piece right there, and all of it comes together. And using these 2x4 tiles, oh, that was one of the best pieces ever developed. By I tried taking it apart too much. All right, but that's basically how I got put together, and I think I really like the way it turned out. The engines do seem a little small for the ship, but at the same time, TIE Fighter engines normally are just little dots on the back of the ship. So these are significantly larger than a regular TIE Fighter. And believe it or not, these wings, at least this one, can actually be attached to either side. And so my idea originally was to build a couple of these wings and a couple of variations of the wing designs to make this very modular. Unfortunately, Lego pieces are pretty expensive, especially when you want very specific ones in specific colors. And so I ended up having to compromise a little bit and just building the one set of wings for the ship. Now, as you saw in my previous TIE Bizarro mock, if you want to go back and look at that, one of the parts I'm really proud of with most of my TIE Fighters is the border around the wing. It's a technique that they started using a while back. Man, is it the early 2000 teens? Anyway, they've been using this technique for the First Order TIE Fighters, the brand new Han Solo TIE Fighter, and I've tried to adapt it to different sizes and different shapes to keep the look, because I really like the way it looks with the border around it not being a full stud width or just being plates stacked on top of each other in layers. I really like having the border that's a little bit thicker. It's just fun. I really like it. So there you go. There's Captain Phasma's TIE Fighter. If you want to take a look underneath, this actually is a set that's pretty sturdy. So you can see I actually had to use these little pieces here to hold up this long section, because that whole section, this whole section is only connected at the end here and back here. And so that whole thing is just resting with gravity. But it's tight enough that it holds when you flip it around. I just wanted these on there to keep it right level with the other pieces. And they worked great. As you can see here, I even left a piece here and here just to keep it lined up, keep it nice. Let's see. Oh, look, I do have a couple extra smaller engines actually. I can't see it. The thing's hard. So you can see these two little bright light blue, light transparent light blue, sorry. So those are supposed to be like additional stabilizing engines, but not super required, but Just an extra little detail I added to make me feel better because the engine seemed small. So there you go. That is Captain Phasma's TIE Fighter. I don't have an actual TIE designation, unless it was like a TIE M for the modular. So if I did have a designation for it, it would be Captain Phasma's TIE M Starfighter. And yep, so that's it. Thank you very much for checking out TJ's Lego Room. I think this is the last field trip episode that we'll do. And we'll catch you guys next time.